welcome back to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Tita's of Fashion Tree, and for this episode, I have a very special guest for you. So, we will be reviewing the gowns at the recently concluded Miss Universe Philippines 2020. So please make sure you stick around. Please subscribe to the channel as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant picks. Eto na nga guys, feeling ko hindi natin makuklose ang chapter ng Miss Universe Philippines at hindi natin matatapos lahat to nang wala ang aking partner in crime, ang isa sa mga pinaka-kontrabida ngayon sa mundo ng pageantry, Sir Jesson Cappuchino of Sashes and Scripts. Good evening, Sir Jesson.
Hello guys. Hello Tita. How are you?
I'm fine. Ikaw, kamusta ka?
Fine. I'm relaxed. I'm happy. I'm alive, enthusiastic.
Parang yan ang mga sinasabi ng mga taong binabato
Oo naman. Slight lang.
Bakit ang prim and proper mo? Ano nangyari sa'yo?
Well, ito I'm happy because ang taas ng naging stats ko when it comes to the coverage of the Miss Universe Philippines.
Okay.
And I think nararamdaman ng mga pageant fans that ito na yung start ng pageant season. That this is after a series of months na tigang tayong lahat, fans suddenly became alive. That they suddenly became energetic because of what's happening, because of the pageants, the series of pageants that's happening from 2 weeks ago, from the start of October, inumpisahan ni MUT, and now unti-unti na tayong going through a series of national pageants, which will culminate hopefully at around the mid-November of this year with Catriona in Colombia.
Oh,
so,
that's amazing.
Yes, the better.
All right. So, Sir Jesson, usually kapag merong mga hanash na ganito, meron mga ganaps, huli tayong nagkita ng screening ng Binibining Pilipinas. In fact, nandun ka nga sa intro video ko. Ano yung feeling na ngayon nagkakaroon tayo ng review tapos ito yung setup natin, virtual?
Parang nakakapanibago, di ba? Parang it doesn't look like it's new. It's medyo alien siya, yung feeling. Medyo
weird na.
Medyo weird. Oo, yun, that's the word. Medyo weird siya. It's not. Ito yung usually kasi when it comes to the months of October, November, December, excited na tayo because that's the international pageant season. So
yes.
At this time, ang mga nakakaaway na natin is mga Shupit Valor, di ba? So
Shupit Valors.
It's kind of weird na the conversation between pageant fans is still umiikot sa atin dito sa Pilipinas. And but there is also a good thing that's happening, which is mas nagiging tutok tayo sa mga international kapitbahay natin. We are looking at paano ginagawa ng South Africa, ng Colombia, ng Thailand, yung kanilang national pageants. So we are a bit more open to what's happening to other countries aside from our own. So I think there's sort of pros and cons. There's like negatives and positives between the what's happening in terms of pageantry. But I think mas na-outweigh ngayon yung mga positives, I believe.
And then it's also nice din na parang kahit na medyo weird yung pa-virtual, medyo nakukuha naman natin na if there's a will, there's a way.
There's a way, definitely.
True nga naman.
And so, it's also like testing ground for what we can do in terms of, kasi it's not this kind of pandemic, it's not going to be something that's gonna be happening just this once. There are predictions that it might happen again within the next 5 to 10 years. So we need to
Ayun,
find
nauubusin nila
ways of
tayo.
how do we continue the pageant industry because pwedeng mangyari ulit. So yun. And yun na nga, nakakahanap naman tayo ng ways. We're finding ways of, pushing and surviving through the pandemic.
So, Sir Jesson, well, because medyo masalimuot naman talaga yung pandemic talks, alam ko by this time, ang dami nang naglabasa ng mga reviews, ang dami nang nag-usap-usap tungkol sa Miss Universe Philippines. But just like what I did ng preliminaries, ang naisip ko is right now, to focus on just the gowns because I think that's what I'm more known for. As you know, guys, meron akong Sparkle Sunday. That's every Sunday. It's a feature on gowns, local and international designers, and even crowns and jewelry. So, naisip ko talaga na si Sir Jesson ang i-invite para dito because, Sir Jesson, baka naman yung mga basher mo gusto mo namang pakitaan ng bonggang-bonggang credentials. Bakit nga ba qualified ka dito sa ating review? Share naman ang iyong credentials.
Ang weird lang to introduce myself as this, I've always been a pageant fan. Before ako nag-take ng clothing technology. I actually graduated in the University of the Philippines, Diliman. I took up clothing technology. I worked at several local and international brands in here in the Philippines and in outside in Jakarta. I was I was a
30 seconds lang to.
marketing. I was a marketing advisor for a big Indonesian-based company handling international brands like PCB Max Azaria, Lacoste, and Tumi, Pandora, and such. I am currently a teaching faculty, teaching merchandising, fashion design at the University of the Philippines and in School of Fashion and Arts in Makati. So, hindi naman nalalayo sa atin ang world of fashion. Yeah.
Oo, ang bigat. Akala mo, pampachismis lang yung mga beauty namin, no? Pero, bigat.
Hindi naman. Nataon lang. Nataon lang.
At dahil dyan, meron akong patsaa para sa'yo. Kasi alam ko naman na isa ka sa mga mahilig magpatsaa. Kaya nga tayo nabebembang dalawa di ba? O, di ba? Cheers!
Oops.
May foam pa. Okay. So guys, ganito gagawin namin. Para naman medyo maiba tayo, mag-gown review kami, but we're gonna do something a little different. I'm so sorry, medyo crude itong aking visuals. I'm sure crude din yung visuals ni Sir Jesson. But we will choose between the prelims gown or the finals gown. Kasi alam naman natin, Sir Jesson, na level up na tayo ngayon. Ngayon na lang tayo ulit nagkaroon ng preliminaries at saka ng finals. Dati hindi to nangyayari nung Binibining Pilipinas. So ngayon, umariba yung mga girls, dalawang gown kung dalawang gown. Sir, bago tayo magsimula, meron lang akong gustong, just some questions. Tricycle. I just have some questions for you. When it comes to preliminary gowns and finals gown, ano ba dapat talaga yung advisable? Kailangan ba yung pinaka-astig mong gown itatago mo sa finals o ilalabas mo na siya for the prelims? Kasi for me, it's a gamble. Malay mo, hindi ka makapasok. Ano bang take mo dyan?
Ako, ang take ko dyan is always give your best at the prelims. Especially if it's you're competing with a field of like 50 candidates and above. Kasi if hindi mo may tawag dyan yung tinitipid mo yung bongga mong gown for the finals, exactly what you said, paano kung hindi ka nakapasok? So I would advise na your best gown, use it on the prelims. And then on the finals, pwedeng yung memorable na gown ang gamitin mo. So there's a difference between that. Yung prelims kasi, you need to be, kinakailangan may arrive ka, may impact ka. Yung tipong pag inihilera ka sa 50 o 100 ng babae, ikaw yung lulutang. So you need to have that gown na kahit line up pa lang, people will remember you. With the final na gown, I think dyan you can get away with a simple gown. You can get away with something that is very, very dressed down. Para ikaw yung lulutang. It's your face, it's your performance, it's how you walk na lulutang. So there is a sort of gamble if you're going towards the more simple, streamlined look. Pero there is also a gamble if you don't give your best gown at the prelims.
Having said this, Sir Jesson, over the years, ano yung mga naging favorite mo na gowns na nirampa sa Miss Universe? Ever?
Ever? Yung kay Ariadna and yung kay...
Ay, pareho tayo. Bakit ganun?
Kasi yung kay Ariadna, ang kinang niya talaga, kahit na hindi siya gumagalaw, yung gown, yung kahit na 100 sila doon sa stage, siya yung unang makikita mo dahil ganun ka studded ang bato. And what's interesting about the gown was hindi siya pink, hindi siya champagne, hindi siya gold, hindi siya silver. Pag tinignan mo yung mga bato close up, iridescent siya. Kaya when you look at it from afar, hindi mo ma-pinpoint kung ano talaga yung gown, which is super like magnificent during the finals. And I would say the Adarna gown ni Kat.
Magkasama tayo nun eh.
Di ba? Yes, doon sa ano, di ba? MOA. Na dress stand lang, pero kapag nasinagan ng ilaw, silang dalawa ni Sinag yung ang sparkly, ang kinang.
Madar na talaga yung impact sa akin eh.
Exactly. Yung tipong nakakalimutan mo, ay katabi pala niya si Lava Gown. And the Lava Gown is, iconic as it is. Pero pag tinabi mo sila na wala si Catriona na nakadamit, lumalaban si Adarna Gown. Ganun
siya. Sobra, guys. Sobra.
Yes. And the detail, Tita, grabe.
I remember, tama. Kasi I remember nung una ako nakapanood ng prelims, tapos lumabas si Kat. Tapos parang medyo question mark sa atin kasi parang hindi natin alam if we like it or if we don't like it. Pero ang natuwa kasi ako doon is, ang pinakagusto ko na part doon sa nangyaring yun is, ako na medyo detalyado pagdating sa kulay, chartreuse, tangerine, cerulean. Pagdating ko dun sa Adarna gown, parang nalito yung utak ko. Ano ba to? Orange ba to? Gold ba to? Copper ba to? Gusto ko yung na-challenge yung utak ko, actually.
And if we look closer at the stones that was used, ano siya, may white stones, may yellow stones, may copper colored stones, and then may orange. So the effect when it's from afar, hindi mo mawari kung is it like orange with white trims or is it actually copper. Pero pag tinignan mo up close, maiintindihan mo na kaya pala ganun yung overall look nung gown kasi the stones used is hindi lang isang kulay lang.
So talagang parang hindi siya one-dimensional. Talagang para siyang inisa-isa mo. If you look at the painting up close, that it's not just when you look at like someone's skin and someone paints skin, it's a little bit of flesh, a little bit of white, a little bit of pink, a little bit of brown. So parang ganun yung effect. So now, pag-uusapan natin ngayon yung preference natin sa mga gowns na nairampa nung Miss Universe Philippines. So if you're ready, I'm ready with my crude visuals. Ayan. Let's talk about Miss Aklan. There you go. Miss Aklan. So Miss Aklan wore the same gown. It's from Cherry Berwick It's the gunmetal gown na asymmetric, na meron para, what do you call that, Sir Jesson? Naiinis ako. It's not entirely a cape, but it's something that falls like on one shoulder.
It's like,
What is that?
yeah, it looks like a scar, a cascading scarf on the
Sige,
side.
a cascading scar na lang ang scarf ang ilagay natin. This gown was actually also seen by the other netizens. Ito yung ginamit din ni Gazzini sa isa pa niyang mga photo shoots with Sir Raymond. Wala tayong choice, Sir Jesson, but let's go with the styling of Cristel Abello. Which one did you prefer? The one for the prelims or the one for the finals?
The one for the finals. Mas gusto ko yung
finals ako.
Yeah, kasi mas malinis, mas kita yung face. And I don't know, there's something different that she did on the lips on the finals na hindi ko mawari. I'm not sure if it's glossier, pero parang mas maputi ang ngipin niya during the finals. Baka siguro gumamit siya ng whatever na, you know, those blue thingy that you put in your mouth to whiten your teeth, right? But in the finals, she looks more radiant. Yun yung gusto ko dun sa finals look niya na parang she's happier than when in the prelims.
I'm just a little confused though kasi dun sa parang official photo shoot nila with Huawei, she was in a yellow gown. So I just don't know why she ended up with the gunmetal gown, because I also mentioned this before. I felt that the gunmetal gown was just a tad bit big on her. Medyo maluwang para sa akin. So, I don't know, Cristel, but anyway, you look fabulous. Next.
I think the yellow would have worked din for the
because she has the personality of sunshine for me. So, I felt na would have been nice, but we don't know what happened, but doesn't matter. She looks fabulous.
Yeah.
So, next, we're gonna do this one alphabetically para naman wala masyadong may sama ng loob. But yeah, we will be revealing our favorite out of the top 16 and then our favorites na hindi naman nakapasok. So next on our list is Miss Albay. So on prelims at saka sa finals, ang suot niya ay Rene Salud. Ikaw muna, Sir Jesson. Prelims o finals?
Finals. Ikaw.
Prelims ako.
Okay. Ikaw muna.
Okay. Ako muna. So, medyo nahirapan ako dito because this is actually not my cup of tea, but of course, ang ganda-ganda ni Paula. Mas gusto ko yung prelims na gown niya kasi parang mas naramdaman ko yung pagka-Diyosa because it was gray, it was ice blue, but the finals for me, parang feeling ko medyo mas basic, even the cut, even yung pagka-ombre. I don't know. What about you? Maybe you can articulate what I want to say in a nicer way.
For me, the reason why I like the finals better because of the ombre effect. I would have, however, made some adjustments on how the rest of the dress hugged her figure para mas kita yung kurbada ng katawan. I think that's
yun actually yung issue ko eh. Parang mas gusto ko sana yung
it looks like a straight a gown on her na she would have mas maganda na naging impact kung medyo form fitting ng konti yung gown and kita yung pagka-cinch ng waist at saka yung pagkabilog ng hips. I think that would have
very voluptuous sana eh. So parang nagawan sana ng paraan yung goddess peg nila pero hindi sana na-hide yung katawan niya. So now we will be talking about the Lazada voting winner. Of course, she is none other than Bilirans Kelly Ivy Florida. Now on both the preliminaries and the finals, she wore a bench ligye. Sir Jesson, ikaw muna. Anong gown ang gusto mo dito?
Prelims.
Prelims. Naku, patay tayo dyan. Finals ako. Finals.
Okay. Why? Ikaw muna.
Okay, so medyo nahirapan ako dito kasi yung look ng gown na to, hindi ko usually style. But feeling ko, yung prelims niya, ang ganda-ganda niya. Hindi lang ako masyadong on board dun sa parang mesh thing. Kasi parang feeling ko nakat yung katawan niya. Mas matangkad siyang tingnan dun sa finals gown niya for me. Although, I want to note that the finals gown for me, yung design niya na nakita ko na before. So, I don't know if this is a new gown for Skelly or if this is a gown na pinol galing sa previous collection niya. I don't know. Maybe you have some information.
The reason why I like yung prelims gown, it's because it moved better than the finals. And yung prelims gown is very very unusual yung placement nung mesh, yung see-through na part on the lower part of her body. So ang nangyari nito is parang konting peekaboo pero not so much. And what I like is the
Ayan.
it looks like mas nakakatangkad and it looks like falling rain on a window pane yung achieve nung look na yon. So I think I like the color better on Skelly as well for the prelims gown. I only hope that instead of a low chignon, medyo higher bun na lang siya like the finals na look. Kasi it would have made her even look more, taller and mas maganda yung bearing if from top to toe is mas pulido yung pagkakasuot.
Actually, yun din naman yung thing ko eh. But I like the fit of the finals gown. It's just that
yes.
Ilang beses ko na kasi siyang nakita. So parang wala na yung wow factor sa akin masyado. So I definitely understand you na medyo something fresh naman na in-offer nung designer yung preliminary na gown niya. Okay. Alright, so moving on. We have the beautiful Miss Bohol, Pauline Amelinx. The first gown was a pink gown for prelims by Mickey Andre. And then the next one, the one for the finals, is a royal blue gown. Ikaw muna.
Finals.
So wala kang visual. Ako meron. Ano ka?
Finals.
Ako finals din. Ay, mali.
Ay, bakit pala?
Not paying attention. Finals din sa akin. Finals.
Wow.
Ayan. Bakit finals sa'yo?
Kasi parang ang daming fabric ng prelims, parang nasobrahan, nilamon siya parang nilamon si Pauline nung fabric nung prelims. Unlike nung finals na mas may body, mas mabigat yung fall. So parang ang nito, the way she carried it is parang ang focus is on her, not on the movement.
Yung kay Pauline, I agree with you. Gusto ko yung kanyang finals gown. And I want to note though na, after Pia, maraming medyo natakot sa royal blue. Parang maraming ayaw magsuot ng royal blue. So parang I thought it was really gutsy of her. Would I want a different gown for her? Kung ako ang masusunod, mas gusto ko sana yung hindi masyadong ma-fabric. Mas gusto ko sana yung tipong may hapit sa katawan, yung na-envision ko siguro kasi na-envision ko sa kanya na parang mas sparkly. Kasi si Pauline for me parang very low-key eh. The whole time parang nakafocus tayo sa face niya eh.
The face, yeah.
Diba? So parang mas gusto ko sana na this time, nagbigay sana siya ng something different. Yung talagang something na very red carpet, something very razzle-dazzle, something na medyo iba dun sa personality na nakikita natin. But nevertheless, I really, really like the choice of the blue gown. Medyo heavy lang for me. Yun lang yung...
I think, Tita, if there's something that I will change on Pauline's final gown is the fabric. Had this been in a midnight blue velvet, na fabric, then it would have made mas lumutang siya because of yung color ng skin niya, plus the fact that the color the color of the fabric itself would absorb light. So hindi siya yung nagre-reflect ng light. And the problem kasi with shiny fabrics is that it makes you look bigger. Unlike fabrics like velvet that they absorb light. May konti pa rin siyang sheen, pero hindi siya ganun kakinang. So had it been in velvet, I think it would have been like perfect on her.
Sabi ko na nga ba, nag-velvet ako dun sa review ko the last time eh. Tama-tama yung decision ko nun.
Yeah, and velvet talaga nakakapayat. Nakakapayat among all the fabrics that we during our fabric classes in UP back in the days, my teacher told us that if there's a fabric that you want to use to make your client slimmer, use dark colored velvets. Yung mga velvets na tipong burgundy or wine, midnight blues, yung mga ganun na type of fabric, sila yung lakas makapayat.
Ayan guys kung pag alam nyo naman magpapasko na, feeling ko magpupumiglas pa rin kayo sa mga parkays ninyo. Ayan na yung ating expert opinion. Gusto natin pumayat. Medyo velvety na medyo burgundies and wine. So ayan. Alright, moving on. One of the heavy favorites and eventual fourth runner-up, I'm talking about the striking Billie Hawkinson. I do know that she wore 2 Louis Pangilinan gowns. So the first one is a structural white gown, and then the next one is a chartreuse gown na very Galliano nga naman talaga. Parang, do you remember that Galliano collection na parang very Indian yung print? Very Indian yung dating?
Yeah,
back in the 90s. Oh, ayan. Yun yung nakita ko. But ikaw, anong napili mo? Is it the chartreuse or the white one for prelims?
Actually, wala akong mapili between these two because I love them both. Had Billy wore the same gown yung na ginamit siya sa prelims, hindi ako magrereklamo kasi ang ganda. Siguro, if I really had to pick one, I'd pick the chartreuse gown simply because it's a color na unforgiving. Hindi siya yung tipong kahit na sino kayang isuot, especially in pageants. And remember the chartreuse gown that Demile wore in the prelims of Miss Universe 2017.
Who would forget, Sir Jesson? Who would forget?
Parang she was crucified for wearing that color, and it actually reminded us of the Galliano satin bias cut na Linda Evangelista wore in a Vogue shoot, I believe.
Yeah.
So I picked the final simply because of the color. Pero had it been that the prelims gown, the white prelims gown was in chartreuse, I'd pick the prelims gown simply because unusual color, unusual patterning on the bodies and on the hips. Kasi itong structural na gown na gowns na ito, hindi siya madaling construct. Hindi siya tipong kayang kahit na sinong modista kayang patayuin yung hip curve nung structural na gown ng prelims. But because of we're talking about pageants, mas pageant right yung chartreuse na finals. Pero being the fashion educator that I am more visually inclined with Billie's prelims gown. So it's parang pag nag-asawa yung prelims at saka yung finals na gown at nagkaanak ng white na gown, nagkaanak sila na yung chartreuse version ng white na gown, yun yung pipiliin ko because it's stunning, the color is stunning, and ang ganda ng pagkakadala ni Billie. I think we have to throw it back to Billie na nadala niya because these two gowns, hindi siya madaling i-pull off ng kahit na sino. Had it been a lesser girl who wore these two gowns, they would have like fall flat on their faces. But because it's Billie, there is personality there na kaya niyang dalhin, na hindi siya na-overwhelm ng dalawang gowns, na if you give it to a lesser girl, these gowns would easily, eat the other girls up, right?
True.
Ikaw,
Ako naman, pretty much made na yung choice ko dito eh. I know a lot of people, wait lang, padaanin lang natin to. Ayan. So I know a lot of people who know me at Titas of Pageantry would think that I would pick the finals because I'm picking the prelims, and I know that this is because alam nila na mahal ko yung color na chartreuse. But I'm picking the prelims gown kasi I feel na mas may impact sa akin na ilagay mo si Billie sa puti. You know, white is also a very unforgiving color because the wrong type of white gown, the wrong design, and the wrong cut would make it look bridal. But with Billie, nabigyan niya ng konting edgy factor eh. So parang sabi ko nga sa previous review ko, on one side, it's business, but on the other side, it's a party. So gusto ko kasi na parang kayang, it's a type of gown na parang pwede pang editorial, parang pwede mong i-dim yung lights, pwede mo siyang gawing black and white, and then sa lahat ng angle, left man or right, back or front, parang ang dami niyang pwedeng kuhaan ng photos eh. Although the finals gown is beautiful as well, mas mukha lang pageant gown sa akin yung finals. Mas mukhang hindi pageant gown yung prelims. And gusto ko yung medyo dangerous, medyo edgy, hindi siya saccharine sweet, kahit na puti siya.
Agree.
So, again, kay Louis Pangilinan tong gown na to. Ayan. So next, this one is a candidate who wore one gown, just like Cristel. And I'm talking about Cebu City's Tracy Maureen Perez. Now, she wore this chandelier crystal embellished blush gown by Daniel Manila Couture. But there's a little bit of a difference on how she wore it and how she presented it. Sir Jesson, san ka? Sa pula, sa puti, sa prelim, sa finals?
Sa pula. Sa pula, sa prelims. Kasi
pareho tayo. Prelims din ako.
There was the elements of surprise. Mm-hmm. I hope na kahit na ipakita niya yung surprise na yon sa prelims, sana dinala niya yun sa finals. Kasi hindi naman lahat nakapanood ng prelims eh. Right? Mm-hmm. Hindi naman lahat nakapanood nung Ring Light na series. Hindi naman lahat nakapanood nung mga nag-leak na mga pa-live sa Facebook at saka sa YouTube. So why not use that on the televised broadcast?
Diba? It would have made an impact, no, sa mga nanood sa TV. Tama.
Exactly. It would have been like may additional na wow factor. Kasi ang nangyari with the finals, I believe na parang na-wash out yung overall look niya. Had it been that there is that punch of red na nag-pop out from the very beginning, kahit 2 seconds lang na exposure of that red cape na with the very dramatic reveal, it would have made a difference for her final presentation.
Wala na akong masyado ihahanash. I agree with you. I really, really like that pop of red because it was such a contrast. And alam naman natin, nung nagpa-finals na yung ilaw kasi it's very pink, very purple yung light, diba? So, nagets naman kita. And another thing sana na gusto kong i-mention, because Tracy is a little more on the petite side. So, I would have wanted something na parang medyo mas may train sa likod. Kasi parang medyo nabitin lang ako sa harapan. So parang it made her more petite than she already is. But other than that, I'm all for the sparkles. I'm all for the chandelier crystals. So push natin yun. I see. All right, so moving on. The Cebuanas did really, really well this edition. Don't you agree?
Yes, I would. I
So,
would say so.
diba?
Yeah.
Parang perfect score. And speaking of Cebuana, let's now move on to Cebu province. Of course, the strikingly beautiful April Smith. So, April Smith, she wore two gowns. The first one is a couture gown as well by Ezra Santos. It was silver for prelims and for finals, fabulous Mark Baumgartner terno. Bago ka humanash, alin dyan ang pipiliin mo?
Yung terno. The
Terno,
white.
ako,
Yeah, the white terno.
ako nandun din ako sa terno.
Baliktad.
Finals. Ayan,
Yeah.
finals.
Yeah.
Bakit Sir Jesson? Bakit terno?
Ang linis niya tignan nung terno. It looks the fit looks perfect. The detail on the sleeves, ang gandang tignan na kaya niyang tumayo on its own, especially if I'm not mistaken, that's either tulle or sheer na fabric na malambot, and yung mga ganong klaseng fabric, mahirap
tumayo yun.
Mahirap patayuin yan when it comes to the construction. Kaya on the construction side, I really love the sleeves. Plus, if you look at the gown itself, meron siyang nude na inserts at the sides na parang
Yes.
wait lang.
Parang cutouts.
Yes, na parang meron ka, hindi natatapos yung surprise na may slit, may beadwork, may sculptural na sleeves. So dadagdagan pa nung konting peekaboo na cut out on the side. I think hindi nagkamali si April na ito ang ginamit niya for the finals.
I see. Sa kaalaman lang na iba, this was made, of course, by the fabulous Mark Baumgartner.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the fit is also impeccable. The make is impeccable. Inspired daw to sa Gumamela, kaya nakita natin yung frilly sleeves.
Yes.
So frilly sleeves. So I also agree with you. I picked the finals gown. Although, if I'm going to be very honest din, I did not expect this from April Smith. Siguro yun lang medyo yung disconnect sa akin, na I did not expect na she had it in her to wear a terno. Kasi ang pagkakakilala ko sa personality ni April Smith, akala ko talaga she will bring Beyonce to Philippine pageantry. Yeah. So akala ko siyang gold kung gold, Diana Ross kung Diana Ross. Aba, iniba ni April Smith. So
or something like a Naomi Campbell into the rap, right? Yeah, something
long hair,
straight, ganyan. But I think it works for her for the finals. Basta gusto ko itong look niya ito sa finals than the prelims. Nagmukha kasing mas Pinay. Ayun. Mas nagmukhang Pinay yung features niya na mahinhin at saka may graceful movement siya na ginawa on the finals. I think that's the surprise there, na hindi siya yung diva na naglakad for the
parang medyo out of the box siya.
Exactly.
Para sa isang April Smith.
Exactly.